Hello everyone, my name is Ariane, project manager and animator by day, and independent comic book artist and now graphic novelist by night. What happens when you try to unalive yourself and death has other plans for you? For the past month, I've been working on making my graphic novel Death Won't Let Me Die happen. I've been updating you guys on each one of the steps as I learned this whole process as a noob to the world of graphic novels and traditionally inked graphic novels at that, without any connections, without being a Nepo baby, having day jobs, all those things. So that's what this video is about, and if that sounds like your jam, then stick around. This will be the update for weeks 3 and 4 of making my graphic novel happen. So what have I been up to these past 2 weeks? First order of business is that the paper that I've been waiting for weeks finally arrived. The leader paper that I wanted to use for the comic is here with me. I'm really happy about that. I was dying to test it, to see the quality of the paper, to see if I love it more than just my regular run-of-the-mill paper, what the difference was, all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you some stuff that I discovered with this. So the leader paper is a lot thicker than the regular paper that I was using. And obviously it is the specific size that I wanted to work in, which is A4. It also comes with ruler guides that are already integrated into the paper, which is really nice and helpful. And the ink itself glides super nicely on it. I feel like this type of paper is much less porous than regular paper that I'm used to, so it's just really smooth to work on. But I will say, if I'm being completely honest, and I am not a professional, so obviously I might not be educated enough in noticing subtle differences, but if I wanted to, I could definitely keep on using my regular paper to draw my pages. And I would probably be fine as long as I measure out the proportions that I need for each page. However, it is really nice to invest in proper comic paper. I don't think it's entirely a necessity. It's just an extra thing to have. So if you're thinking about starting your graphic novel, I would definitely encourage you to not let access to materials stop you from trying. Just go for it with regular paper, printer paper, and try it out. The other thing I noticed with the deleter paper is that, of course, it costs just a little bit more money than regular paper and it's higher quality. So I found myself, when I was doing the first test, really nervous about ruining the paper, about doing that first line. And I don't usually feel that. That's not one of the fears that I have. I'm usually really confident when it comes to just laying things down on paper. But this time around, I was like, oh, this is for real. This is serious. This is comic book paper. And I think I got over that fear really quickly. I just realized that mistakes will happen and that's completely fine. Nothing that can't be fixed in editing with my computer. And I also realized that I've talked to other people who work traditionally with their comics, and a lot of them don't even work in just one piece of paper. And this is something that I hope I am teaching you if you never heard about this, but a lot of people simply work each panel separately and then edit it all together. To be honest, it kind of blew my mind that people don't just do everything in one single piece of paper traditionally, at least not always. So that's something that also put my mind at ease. I was like, it's fine, it's paper, it's part of the fun. So that was a really cool learning experience for me that, working traditionally gives me that I would have never realized if I continued working digitally. Another thing that I worked on throughout this couple of weeks was creating the first page of the graphic novel. I wanted to create a really impactful page. I wanted it to be kind of in your face, and I wanted it to pay homage to some of my favorite opening pages from graphic novels and comics that I've seen. For example, I kept thinking about the first page of Saga, and just kind of being inspired by that to create my first page. And the first version of it I did with regular paper, which I'll show you right here. And then a couple of days after that, the deleter paper arrived, so I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to use my light pad and just draw it again on the fancy comic paper. And this is the version that I got from that. And this will be the finalized version of the first page of the graphic novel. Can you believe it? We've already done one page of the graphic novel, and that is kind of crazy to me and really cool. Another thing that I wanted to do in this time period was defining the technique that I was going to use for coloring. I wanted to know how rendered I wanted to make things, or how cel shaded I wanted things to be, the texture that I wanted the colors to have, and obviously the color palette, which I did define. And this is the color palette, which you can see right here. It is limited, but not entirely limited. Still, I really like it. And depending on the mood or certain things that happen in the story, things shift, and you will notice that from the character sheets that there are two versions of the colors of each character. And that is on purpose. There is a reason for it, which you'll have to find out as I continue working on this. But coming back to the technique I wanted to use, I realized that I will be doing a mix of cel shaded shadows and really glossy, sharp highlights with some more soft painterly strokes here and there, especially for the skin of the characters. And I think that when it comes to the backgrounds, I will keep the shading a bit minimal. I'll play a lot with gradients, but I want the focus to be mainly on the characters. I feel like I have so much work to do when it comes to backgrounds that I just don't want to draw attention to that for people. So that was a good realization, and now I've settled on the coloring technique that I'll use. I also decided on a finishing texture, which is a grainy texture that I want the graphic novel to have throughout the story, which you'll see here. This is the final color test, final defined color technique that I'll be using for the comic. I think it looks really cool, if I do say so myself. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you like it, if you don't like it. I want to know. And I definitely went for that grainy finishing touch because the story itself is kind of angsty and grimy and dirty, and it gets really into the dark side of the psyche, the heart, the soul. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I have completely settled on that, which is a big step for me to continue working on other pages. By far, the most fun that I've had this past couple of weeks has been with character designs. I have done all the head turnarounds that I wanted to do for each character to keep them consistent throughout the drawing process, and I finalized their character design sheets with a bit of a turnaround that'll define some of the poses that will be very quintessentially theirs for each character, as well as their fashion sense and how that informs who the person is in the story. And from doing all that work, defining their colors, defining their style, their body proportions, and also a lineup of them, side by side, so I know the heights of everyone, I realized that I'm definitely missing a few characters that I want to have as well for me to reference. So I'll be working on that for week 5, just to wrap up the character design phase of this. And then I'll be moving on to a bit more definition when it comes to the world itself, just kind of like the visual development side of things, how certain items look, how certain buildings are drawn, certain backgrounds are drawn. And that is something that I think I'll be a little bit less structured about because, like I said, backgrounds are not my strongest suit, so I'm definitely learning and working on it as I go. But that's okay. That's just the artistic process, I guess. Yeah, these are all the character designs that I've done so far, all the work that I've done character design-wise. Let me know what you think. Who is your favorite character design from all of these? The graphic novel is moving along. I'm really happy and excited that I've continued the hard work. I will make a point of saying that it has not necessarily been easy. I work on this after my day job, so sometimes it really takes a lot of effort out of me to like want to continue working after work. There are some days after I've been clicking all day and working all day where my hand has been impacted by that work, and so when I've tried to draw those days, I can tell my lines are shaky and not great. For a moment there, I thought, how will I do this? Will that stop me from making the graphic novel? But I realized that if some pages turn out a little bit wiggly, if some lines are not perfect, that's okay. It might show through, but I'll also know in hindsight when I finish this project all the effort that went into it. So I'm trying to keep a positive mind about the complications of working on a graphic novel when you're not a Nepo baby or a trust fund baby, you know? Just gotta do the thing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you're following this journey, if you're learning along with me, also let me know. If you have any tips, any suggestions, you know what to do. And I'll see you for the next update, hopefully very soon.